So good afternoon, everybody. So in yesterday's session, we have done so many things regarding the concept of costing, right? At first, we understood a few words which are related to this word costing. First, we understood the meaning of cost. That is the amount of expenditure made on a product is called as cost. The way you record this cost is called as costing. The summarizing and reporting this costing is called as cost accounting. Using this cost accounting for decision purposes is called as cost accountancy, right? So we have done so many things regarding cost, costing, cost accounting, and cost accountancy. Then we have started the importance of cost accounting. We have seen there are five major phrases where cost accounting is important. That is to management, to workers, creditors and investors, government, and
Government.
general public. Next, we went ahead to understand the five objectives of costing. That is ascertainment of cost, determination of selling price, ascertainment of profit, cost control and cost reduction, and assisting management in decision making. Then we went ahead to understand what you mean by cost control and cost reduction. So first we understood what is cost control. Controlling something then and there itself is called as cost control. Okay, how it is achieved by first you'll fix a target, you'll try to achieve the target, you'll try to compare the target with your actual results. If any difference is arising, that is called as variance, and depending upon this variance some action will be taken. So that was all regarding cost control. Then we went ahead to understand cost reduction. Cost reduction, it starts where cost control ends. Okay, it is achieved when there's a permanent reduction in cost. When you go on achieve your cost control, when you go on achieve your standards, there will be a particular time where the cost will be permanently reduced. This is called as cost reduction. Reducing something is called as cost reduction. Stopping it there and there itself is called as cost control. Then we have seen areas where cost reduction can be done. These are all the things what we have done in the last session. Now let us move ahead and let us do the next concept called as elements of cost. Any cost comprises of only major three elements. What are those major three elements? Let us try to understand it today. And today we'll start with cost sheet also. Elements of cost. Elements of cost. Now, what do you mean by elements of cost? You take any item in this world, my dear friends, or you take any service in this world, it contains of major three elements. Okay, those three elements are what you are going to study here. So, strictly speaking, there are only three elements in costing. Okay, those three elements are as follows. Everything in this world, let it be product or let it be service, it is classified of three elements. Those three elements are, in that first element is material, or some people even call it as raw material. Second element is labor, and at last third element is expenses. So everything in this world is comprised of three things: material, labor, and expenses. Okay, now first let us try to understand what is material. Material is anything which goes into production is called as material. So what you're talking, listen carefully. Anything which forms part of a production is called as material. Everything which forms part of a production, we are supposed to call it as material. Let us write it. So what do you mean by material? Anything which goes into production. Anything which goes into production is called as material. It can be anything, my dear friends. Okay, it can be anything. It can be any tangible thing. For if you want to say in other words, it can be any tangible thing which goes into production is called as material. Since it's a tangible thing, I have to term it as something and I'm terming it as material. This material I can further divide into two types. That is, the further division will be direct material and indirect material. Now let us understand what is this direct material and indirect material. this material can be further divided into two types. Direct material and indirect material. Now, first, let us understand what is the meaning of direct material. Then we'll understand what is the meaning of indirect material. Now, what do you mean by direct material? Let's see, what is direct material? Direct material is something which can be identified with a product. Okay, any material which can be identified with the final product, we call it as direct material. Any material which cannot be identified with the final product, we call it as indirect material. So what you're talking, let me give you an example, my dear friends. Say for example, you are wearing shirts. Boys are wearing shirts, girls are wearing dresses, right? When you wear shirts, what you can see in your shirt? You can see cotton. If you're wearing cotton shirt, you can see thread, you can see buttons, you can see dye, that is color. That is nothing but everything what you can see in your material, everything what you can see in your shirt is called as direct material. But can you see needle in your shirt? Can you
No, sir.
see needle in your shirt? No. If you see, it's not going to hit. Something bad is going to happen in your life if you see needle in your shirt. So you cannot see needle in your shirt. Can I say needle is something which is used in manufacturing the shirt? Yes. So this type of material which you can identify with the final product is called as direct material. Such type of material which cannot be identified with the final product is called as indirect material. One more example, my dear friends. In case of crude oil industries, crude oil, using this crude oil, they make several products like let it be petrol, let it be Vaseline, let
Yes,
it
sir.
be jelly, right? Now, they will heat this crude oil. When they heat this crude oil, in order to cool down the machinery, they use water. Can you see water in the final product petrol? No. Water is not seen in the final product petrol, but water is used in the production. So such a type of material is called as indirect material. The material which is used in the production and can be seen in the final product is called as direct material. The material which is used in the production which cannot be seen in the final product is called as indirect material. Okay, I hope it is clear, everybody, the meaning of direct material and indirect material.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now,
Yes, sir.
fine, perfect. Now, let's write it down. Material used in production, which is identified with the final product, is called as direct material. Example, there are many examples. All raw materials which you use in production. Next, materials which are used in the production for specified purposes. Next, components used in the production, packing material, all these things. Example, thread, dye, plastic in textile industry. Next, the most repeated question, primary, packing. Okay, materials used for a specific job. Materials, I don't want to sanitize. Materials used for a specific job. All these items are supposed to be direct material. So then what is indirect material? Let us write. Material used in production, material used in production, which is not identifiable in final product, is called as indirect material. Example, we have needles, cooler houses, cooling houses, which cool downs the machinery, okay, etc. in textile industry. Okay. There is no hard fast rule that a material will always be direct or a material will always be indirect. There is no hard fast rule like that, my dear friends. It depends on what type of industry you are dealing with. To one industry, that particular item may be direct material, but to one more industry, that particular item may be an indirect material. Say, for example, you are having an industry where you manufacture water bottles. Okay. In water bottles, you fill water and give it to the customer, right? So in this case, water can be direct material for you, but the same water will be indirect material in case of crude oil industry. Okay. So I hope it's clear. So it depends on which type of industry you are dealing with. I hope the basic points are clear. What do you mean by material? Material is nothing but anything which goes into production is called as material. We have two types of materials, direct material and indirect material. Now let's try to analyze and understand regarding the concept of labor. What do you mean by labor? Simple, my dear friends. Any workforce of an organization is called as labor. Any workforce of an organization. You take any workforce of an organization, we term it as labor. Any workforce of an organization is termed as labor. Now, this labor, we can further bifurcate it into two parts. What are those two parts? Like the way we bifurcated material into two parts, right? Let us bifurcate the labor also into two parts. Can bifurcate the labor as direct labor and indirect labor. Now let's try to analyze what is direct labor and what is indirect labor. Like the way we tried to analyze what is direct material and what is indirect material, right? In the same way, let's proceed further and let's try to analyze what is direct labor and what is indirect labor. Now, I can say any workforce who are directly associated with the production. Any workforce who are directly associated with the production are called as direct laborers. Or I can say labor who are actually engaged in the production or manufacturing. We call it as direct labor. Okay. Now let us write it. Direct labor. I can say somewhat like this. Labor who are engaged with actual production of a product or carrying out of an operation are called as direct labor. Labor who are engaged with actual production of product or carrying out operation etc are supposed to be direct labor. I can say somewhat like this. Anybody who are associated with the production are supposed to be direct labor. Say for example, in case of education industry you take, we people are directly associated with you people. Means we people are directly associated with the production. So in this case, we are supposed to be direct labor. And you people are supposed to be the end products. We are providing you service. We are direct labor. But there are some people in the same education industry who don't teach, but without them, the classes cannot happen. Like administration staff is there. The administration staff, though they do not teach, They help the direct labor to perform their work efficiently. Okay, so these type of people are called as indirect labor. Okay, so direct labor is something who are directly associated with the production are called as direct labor. Say for example, laborers who are engaged in construction, composition, condition making of the product. Okay, all these people are supposed to be direct labor. Okay, or there's a person who's taking up the raw material and he's introducing the raw materials into machinery. He's the direct labor. But there is a one more person who's not doing any work. He's just standing there and he's supervising the entire work. He's called as indirect labor. There is a CEO of a company, there is a CFO of a company, there are managers in the company who don't do any production. They just sit and supervise. So such type of laborers are called as indirect laborers. Okay, so direct laborers are those laborers who are engaged with actual production are called as direct laborers. The laborers who are used as who facilitate the direct labor to do their work efficiently are called as indirect labor. Okay, now what is indirect labor? People who are not associated with the production, people who are not associated with the production or people who supervise direct labor or people who help direct labor to perform their works efficiently. All these types of people are called as indirect labor. So I hope you understood the meaning of direct labor and indirect labor. What do you mean by direct labor, my dear friends? Direct labor means those labor who are directly associated with the production, like piece rate workers, okay, daily wage earners, okay, people who directly take the goods and introduce in the machinery. Okay, all these people are called as direct laborers. Indirect laborers, people who are not associated with the production, or people who supervise the direct labor, or people who help direct labor to perform their work efficiently is called as indirect labor. Okay, so I hope all the 4 points are clear. Direct material, indirect material, direct labor, indirect labor. Next, let us try to understand expense. What do you mean by expense? Anything other than material and labor is supposed to be expense. Anything other than material and labor. Anything other than material and labor is supposed to be expense. Now let's try to understand what is this anything other than material and labor is tried to be expense. Now you take anything, my dear friends, which is not material, which is not labor. We call it as expenditure. Okay. Can you tell me any examples of expenditure? Rent is there. Is rent a material? Is rent a labor? No, it is an expenditure. Right? Salary is there. Salary is a material? No. Salary is a labor? Yes. You are paying to laborers, right? Salary. So salary is a labor. Salary is not expenses. Right? Next, go down rent is there. Go down rent is not material. Go down rent is not labor. Go down rent is expenses. Okay, there are many items of expenditures, my dear friends. Okay, like tax paid. Can I say excess duty paid is an expense? Everybody, can I say excess duty paid is an expense or GST paid is an expense?
Yes, sir.
No, GST paid is not an expense. GST paid is a form of material. Okay,
Yes, sir.
because GST you pay on goods, right? So it's a form of material. It's not expenses. Next, can I say electricity is an expense? Yes, electricity is an expense. It is neither material, it's not labor. It is
Yes.
not tangible, right? Can you see electricity? No, it's not tangible. However, you can touch, but
No,
you
sir.
cannot see, right? So it is going to be a form of production, sorry, expenses. So anything other than material and labor, we call it as expenses. Okay. Next, so we have two types of expenses. direct expenses and indirect expenses. Direct expenses and indirect expenses. Now, what do you mean by direct expenses? What do you mean by indirect expenses? Let's try to analyze with an example. Now, direct expenses. Direct expenses are those expenses which change with the production. Any expenses, these direct expenses are also called as chargeable expenses. Most repeated question this is. Direct expenses are also called as chargeable expenses. Now, what do you mean by direct expenses? Okay, direct expenses means expenses which alter with the production. We call it as direct expenses. Sir, what you're talking? Expenses which change with the production. Okay, as the production increases, the expenditure increase. As the production decrease, the expenditure will also decrease. Okay, such type of expenses are called as direct expenses. Expenses which change with production are called as direct expenses. As production increases, these expenses also increase. As production decreases, these expenses also decrease. Can you tell me any example for direct expenses? Any example for direct expenses?
Salary.
Royalty.
Salary is not a direct
Salary is
expense.
wages.
Salary is a labor.
Royalty.
What is royalty?
Rent.
Royalty and rent. Rent is an rent does not
Factory
change with
expenses.
production. Rent does not change with production, right? You made more production, your landlord will come and tell you, hey, you made more production, give me more rent. No, you kick him out and you'll send. How can rent change with production? Rent will never change with production. Next, salary, you're paying salary, right? Salary, it comes under labor, it does not comes under expenses. Still, somebody said royalty. Who is that fellow who said royalty? What is royalty? Royalty accounting. Nonsense. No. What is royalty? Okay. Royalty paid on
Manufacturing expenses.
manufacturing
Manufacturing account.
manufacturing account.
Manufacturing expenses. No,
What
sir,
manufacturing?
expenses like
What manufacturing expenses?
factory expenses.
Plastering. What manufacturing expenses?
Factory expense.
అదే ఏంటివి ఆ ఫ్యాక్టరీ ఎక్స్పెన్సెస్
Factory expenses.
ఏంటివి ఫ్యాక్టరీ ఎక్స్పెన్స్ అంటే ఎవ్రీ ఎక్స్పెన్స్ విచ్ ఇస్ ఇన్కర్డ్ ఇన్ ఫ్యాక్టరీ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ as ఫ్యాక్టరీ ఎక్స్పెన్స్. Which factory expenses? Okay, let me tell you. Direct expenses are very limited in nature. Okay, even in your cost accounting standards, maximum 4 examples are given for direct expenses. Okay, so expense which directly change with production are very limited. You have maximum hardly 4 or 5 in your standard. Labor antara, material antara, already I covered in material and labor part. What do you mean by expense? Anything other than material and labor is called as an expense, and in that we are dealing direct expenses. Direct expenses are something which change with production. Rent will not change with production. Okay, all these things will not change with production. They change with time. They are called as period costs because they change with time. Okay, so expenses which change with production are called as direct expenses. Say for example, royalty payable. Royalty payable on production. Royalty payable on production. What do you mean by royalty? Royalty is nothing but, say for example, there's a famous author, he has written one book. Okay, when he has written one book, when publishers come to him, in that case, he will not take lump sum amount, my dear friends. He says, for every book sold, I will charge royalty as 50 rupees. The more production you make, the more royalty you must pay him. Or rather, they will say, for every production you make, you have to pay me royalty. In this case, what happens? These people will go to the production, they will sign on the books. Okay. Many cases they'll sign on the books. Authors sign on the books. Authors sign on the books. They sign on the books because they are counting how many books are being printed. Okay. They count how many books are being printed. And in that case, depending upon the books, they charge royalty. Now, that person is not your worker, right? He's the owner, he's not your worker. He has no relation with you. You went to him, you asked books, that fellow gave you copyright in your printing your books. That's it. He has no association with your organization. He is not the workforce of your organization. So, any amount what you pay to him, the more production you make, the more expenses you give him. Sorry, the more amount you give him. The less production you make, the less amount you pay him. That is called as royalty. Okay, royalty is generally paid when you take some right of production of something. Okay, so royalty payable on production. Next, higher charges. When higher charges are paid on the base of production. This is an higher example which you don't understand now. I hope royalty payable is clear. Royalty payable on production. The more production you make, the more royalty you will pay to him. That person is writing books. He wrote a book and he gave you. If you want to produce that book, you have to pay him royalty. However, if this royalty is paid in lump sum, it is not going to be direct expenses, it is going to be indirect expenses. Okay, so what do you mean by direct expenses? Expenses which change with the production is called as direct expenses. What do you mean by indirect expense? Expense which remain constant irrespective of production. Expense which remain constant irrespective of production. Expenses which remain constant irrespective of production are called as indirect expenses. Example, you take this rent.
Sir,
Rent is an
sales.
example. Sale is an expense.
Okay.
Sale is a revenue. Sale is
Okay.
not an expense. Okay.
Okay.
సేల్ చేసే పైసలు వస్తాయి కదా, పైసలు పోవు. ఓకే.
No, sir. Actually, I'm talking about indirect expense. Sorry, direct expense.
Sale is not direct expense. It is not expense only. It is revenue.
Yes, sir. Income. Sorry, sir.
Okay. Be careful. So basically you have how many elements of costing? You have 3 elements of costing: material, labor, and expenses. Material further divided into 2 types, labor further divided into 2 types, and expenses further divided into 2 types. Okay. Now these 3 things together: direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. These 3 things together: direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. These 3 together are called as primary costs. Okay, these 3 together are called as primary costs. Primary costs. So generally primary word is very big, right? They don't want to take so much big word called as primary cost. So in shortcut, they call it as prime cost, or they call it as direct cost. Okay, prime cost or direct cost. Prime cost, it is nothing but it is a sum of direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. So direct material, direct labor, direct expenses together, these 3 things are supposed to be prime cost or primary costs. Next, indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. Indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. Indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. Okay, these 3 together we call it as indirect costs. Indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect cost, these 3 together you call it as indirect cost, or you can call it with one more name called as overheads. Okay, what do you mean by overheads? The sum of indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. What do you mean by overheads? The sum of indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses together is called as overheads. What do you mean by prime cost? The sum of direct material, direct labor, and direct expense is called as prime cost. Okay, so overheads, don't think that it is some special term. The sum of indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses is called as overheads. It's an aggregate of indirect material, labor, and indirect expense. Okay, so basically if you see overheads, they comprise of all the expenses what are made in the organization. Entire expenses put together, we call it as overheads. Okay, because these overheads, you have a special chapter dedicated to your overheads when you study in your CMA intro, CMA final. Entire costing, 90% of the costing revolves behind overheads itself, my dear friends. And that's one of the most important area in your cost accounting. And this is where cost accountants will be employed to take care of overheads. Prime cost, primary cost, everybody can take care. Even a BCom graduate or MCom graduate can take care of primary cost. But especially cost accountants or chartered accountants will be employed in costing field to take care of these overheads. They are assumed to be they are assumed that these people, cost accountants or chartered accountants, have expert knowledge in dealing with overheads. However, this is the area where many students face difficult. However, overheads is nothing but the sum of indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. These overheads can be further divided into 4 different types. Now, what are the 4 different types where this overheads can be broken into? First type is called as production or works overhead. First one is called as production or works overhead. What do you mean by production or works overhead? Any overhead which is incurred in the factory premises is called as production or works overhead. Any overheads incurred in factory are called as production overheads. It can be any expenses what you incur in the factory, irrespective of anything. Let you take depreciation, let you take electricity in the factory. Okay, all these are supposed to be production or works overhead. Next one is administration overhead. Administration overhead. So what do you mean by administration overhead? Administration overhead means overheads incurred in the admin department of the organization is called as administration overheads. Say for example, in administration department, you require computers. The depreciation charged on these computers. The depreciation charged on these computers is administration overhead. Next, in administration department, you will have workers. The salary paid to these workers is administration overhead because they are indirect labor, right? Any salary which you pay to them, it is administration overhead. The stationery used by administration department, it is administration overhead. So any expenses or any overheads what you incur in admin department is called as administration overhead. Director salary, director fees, CEO fees, auditor fees, all these are supposed to be administration overheads. Any overheads. Don't worry, when we write cost sheet, no, we will write all these things. Any overheads incurred in admin department is called as administration overheads. And next, third one, you have selling overheads. So what do you mean by selling overheads? Any overheads incurred to make the customer aware of the product is called as selling overheads. Any expense incurred to make customer aware about the product. Like say for example, you are giving free samples. Okay, why you will give free samples? You will give free samples so that the customers can get aware on the product. right? That is supposed to be selling overheads. You give advertisement, you do marketing. All these are supposed to be selling overheads. Why you do these things, my dear friends? Because customers should know about your product. That's the reason you do all these things. Next, at last, distribution overheads. Distribution overheads. Overheads incurred to make product available to customer is called as distribution overheads. Say for example, the customer has ordered one product. The customer has ordered one product. Now, when the customer has ordered one product, you have to deliver the product to the customer, right? So in order to make the delivery possible, you have kept a delivery van. Okay, so this is supposed to be distribution overheads. Okay, so I hope the entire elements of costing is clear. So we have how many elements in cost? Maximum we have 3 elements in cost. Okay, any product or any service is made with the help of these 3 elements: material, labor, expenses. Material further divided into 2 parts, labor 2 parts, expenses 2 parts. The sum of direct material, direct labor and direct expenses is supposed to be prime cost. The sum of indirect material, indirect labor and direct expenses is supposed to be overheads. Overheads further divided into 4 types: production overheads, administration overheads, selling overheads, distribution overheads. These elements of cost, along with, let me write that point, elements of cost along with stocks. That is, we have 3 types of stocks in the company: raw material stock, work in progress stock, finished goods stock. Okay, elements of cost along with stock forms cost sheet. Okay, you are taking all the elements of costs, you are adding some stocks to that: opening stock, closing stock, opening stock of raw material, closing stock of raw material, opening stock of WIP, closing stock of WIP, opening stock of finished goods, closing stock of finished goods. We call it as cost sheet. Now, my dear friends, right now you people are raw materials. When you clear your CMA foundation, you will become WIP. When you clear your CMA inter, you will still be WIP. When you clear your CMA final, you will become finished goods. Work in progress is the work is still in progress on the goods. That's the reason we call them as WIP, work in progress. Now let's proceed further. Now let's try to analyze or understand regarding cost sheet. After discussing so many things regarding elements of cost, we are supposed to understand about cost sheet, right? If not, cost sheet will feel sad. Okay, shall. Now let us try to understand what is cost sheet. Let me keep the heading cost sheet. Compulsory around 5 to 6 marks question. Questions you are supposed to expect in your examination. Though it is an MCQ examination, cost sheet will surely come in the examination. Okay. So what is the cost sheet? Elements of cost along with stocks form cost sheet. However, it's just a vague definition what I have written. It's not the exact definition. Let's write the exact definition, my dear friends. So what do you mean by cost sheet? Cost sheet, basically it's a statement. It is a statement designed to show the output of a particular accounting period along with the breakup of costs. Okay, this is a main definition what is given for cost sheet. Okay, so if you see, it's a statement designed to show the output of a particular accounting period. So it's a statement first. It's not an account, it's a statement. You know, statement, right? You're just going on writing, you'll be just going on writing. That is called a statement. The statement designed to show the output of a particular accounting period along with the breakup of cost. What are the breakup of cost? What you'll show here? The breakup of cost will be prime cost, factory overhead, administration overhead, selling overhead, total cost. This is the breakup of the cost what you show. Okay, it's a statement which shows the breakup of cost, and along with breakup of cost, you'll write something called as output. Okay, so basically, my dear friends, there is no fixed format for cost sheet. Okay, as of now, no fixed format of cost sheet is given, but there are some cost accounting standards which guide us how the way we are supposed to prepare cost sheet, because there are some cost accounting standards which say that which make it's mandatory to show output along with cost sheet. Okay, but these cost accounting standards are not there in your foundation level, so these cost accounting standards are not applicable for you. And the format of cost sheet what it is given in your CMA textbook is an outdated format of cost sheet. A new cost sheet has been issued by cost accounting standards. The new cost sheet you'll study in your CMA entrance, CMA final. The cost sheet what you're using here is an outdated cost sheet. The cost sheet what you're studying now is a cost sheet which is no more in use. Okay, however, there are no much changes. Little changes are there, but it has a very huge impact. Okay, now let me write the next point. You learn that rectified format of cost sheet in your inter and final. Next, there is no fixed format of cost sheet. There is no fixed format of cost sheet, comma. However, we present it in columnar form along with output. We incorporate all the information in the cost sheet which helps the management or which aids the management for decision purposes. Okay, so this is all regarding cost sheet, my dear friends. Now let's see what is the format of cost sheet. Okay, don't think I'm going to teach you some special things in this cost sheet. No, I don't teach you any special things. You already know cost sheet. Okay, you are doing it from your childhood onwards. You just no special thing will be done in this cost sheet. You just take an expenses, you go on add those expenses. That is only called as cost sheet. But you add it in a what we call systematic manner. So let's proceed. Now, let's see the format of cost sheet, how the cost sheet will be prepared. As it is a descriptive, as it is not a descriptive examination, my dear friends, okay, don't focus much on format, okay, but focus on the terms what I'm writing in this format, okay. Format of cost sheet. There is a format of cost sheet which is given in your CMA material, but that format of cost sheet is wrong. He did not give stocks in that format. That useless fellow forgot to give stocks in the format. Okay, without stocks, how can it be a cost sheet? It won't be a cost sheet. So please make sure that you'll note this point, format of cost sheet. So first you have serial number, then you will have particulars, at last you will have cost per unit, and before that you will have total cost. Okay, so first serial number, particulars, total cost, cost per unit. Now, first item what comes in your cost sheet is it relates to prime cost. What is the first item in prime cost? Direct material, right? So first thing what comes in prime cost is direct material consumed. Direct material consumed. Now, how will you calculate the direct material consumed? There are steps what are given to compute the direct material consumed. First, you will start with opening stock of raw material. Opening stock of raw material. For this opening stock of raw material, you will add purchases of raw material. Add purchases of raw material. Still, if any expenses are there which are directly attributable to raw material, like now you don't have much expenses, you have only one expense, carriage inward. Carriage inward. I hope you know what is carriage inward. The expenses incurred to bring the raw material inside the factory. Okay. So first you will start with opening stock of raw material. You will add purchases. You will add carriage inward. Then you will reduce closing stock of raw material. Closing stock of raw material. You are going to get raw direct material consumed. So why all these things are being done? Simple, my dear friends. The logic is quite simple behind this. Okay. This logic need not be explained to inter and final students, but I hope this logic is important for foundation students. Say for example, beginning of the month, you have 5,000 goods. Beginning of the month, you have 5,000 goods. Okay. Now, at the end of the month, you see you have only 2,000 goods. Beginning of the month, you have 5,000 goods. You have purchased 6,000 goods. So total, how many goods you have? You have beginning 5,000 goods. You have purchased 6,000 goods. So total, you will have 11,000 goods. Now, if you see at the end of the month, you will have 2,000 goods. At the end of month, you will have 2,000 goods. Will you sit and cry? Yo, I had 11,000 goods, but right now I had only 2,000 goods. You won't cry, right? What happened to that 9,000 goods? The 9,000 goods might have been consumed in the production. Okay, that's what you wrote, direct material consumed, opening plus purchases minus closing. Why you did minus closing? At the beginning, there are 5,000, you added extra 6,000, total 11,000 are there. At the end, if you see there are only 2,000, you should not cry. You should just be happy, you should be satisfied that you have used 9,000 worth of goods in the production. Okay, so first thing, what comes is direct material consumed. After direct material consumed, we have direct labor. We don't care whether it is skilled labor or unskilled labor. Sometimes he'll try to confuse you as skilled labor and unskilled labor. No, don't get confused. Second, what we have is direct labor. After direct labor, we have something called as prime, direct expenses. Okay. Now, if I add this direct labor, direct material, direct labor, direct expenses, I get something called as prime cost, also called as primary cost. Prime cost is a major cost which is ever incurred in a factory. That's the reason it is called as primary cost. How do you get this prime cost? By adding 1, 2, and 3, you get this prime cost. Next, for this, you add something called as factory overheads or work overhead. You add factory overheads, also called as works overhead. What do you mean by factory overhead or works overhead? Simple, my dear friends. Expenses what you have incurred in the factory are called as factory overhead or works overhead. Okay. There are many expenses what you incur in the factory, right? Like say for example, you have incurred factory rent. Can I say factory rent forms part of factory overhead? Yes, factory
Yes.
rent forms part of factory overhead. There is no That to that. We have rent which is incurred in factory. Next, we have depreciation. We have insurance, what is incurred for factory premises. Okay, we have factory laborer wages. We have loose tools which are used in the factory. There are some repairs. There are some maintenance. What's going on in factory? Okay, all these are supposed to be factory overheads. So for prime cost, you add something called as factory overheads. If you add factory overheads, you get something called as gross works cost or gross factory cost. You get gross works cost or gross factory cost. So why it is called as gross? Simple, my dear friends. If there is some adjustment still pending, we call it as gross. Like if you see, you have gross domestic product. You make some adjustments to this gross, it will become net, right? The same way some adjustments must be made for this gross works cost. When you make some adjustments for this gross works cost, you will get net works cost or factory cost. So what adjustment you will make? Okay, as I said you, there are three stocks of inventory. We have three types of inventory. First type of inventory is raw material. We have already considered that. Second type of inventory is WIP. So for this gross factory cost, I'll add opening stock of WIP. I'll add opening stock of WIP. That is work which is still in progress. I'll reduce closing stock of WIP. I'll add opening stock of WIP and I'll reduce closing stock of WIP. If I do so, I'll get something called as net factory cost. Or I can say straightforward works cost or factory cost. Okay, so till now, what was happening? Can you see the way movement is happening, my dear friends? First, you purchased the raw material. You have incurred some labor on that. You have incurred some expenses on that. Then the factory, you have incurred some expenses. So till now, the material got completed in the factory and it is coming outside. Now it will go to administration department. Okay, see the flow, the beautiful flow, the beautifully how these people have prepared the cost sheet. Okay, next point number 10. For this, you add something called as administration overhead. Administration overhead. What are all the administration overheads what you have? What are all the expenses what you incur in administration department? Like office rent, office insurance, office rent, office insurance. Next, stationery used, right? Next, printing expense. Next, legal expense. Next, audit fee. Okay. Next, depreciation on office equipment. Depreciation on office equipment. All these expenses you incur in administration department. So for works cost, I'll add administration overhead. I get something called as cost of production. I get something called as cost of production. So this is the cost what I have incurred to make the production possible. That's the reason it is called as cost of production. Okay. Now for this cost of production, there might be some opening stock of last year, right? The clothing stock of last year becomes opening stock of current year. So there might be some opening stock which I need to add. There might be still some clothing stock lying in the factory which I need to remove. So for this cost of production, I'll add opening stock of finished goods and I'll reduce closing stock of finished goods. If I do so, I get something called as cost of goods sold. What I get? Cost of goods sold. COGS. Cost of COGS. Cost of goods sold. Earlier is COP, now COGS. Now let's proceed further. For this cost of goods sold, you add something called as selling and distribution expenses. For this cost of goods sold, you add something called as selling and distribution expenses. Or if you want to add separately, you can add separately also. There is no issue. Or selling and distribution overheads. Okay. You get something called as cost of sales. Cost of sales. See, I'm underlining some words here. I'm keeping some things in the blocks. So you are supposed to make sure that you remember these words. Okay. Sometimes in the examination, what he says is that he'll just ask you cost of production, or he'll ask you cost of goods sold. He'll ask you factory cost. Then that case you must be careful. This is the cost of sales, my dear friends. For this, if you add profit, you are going to get sales. You will have sales at the last. The difference between cost of sales and the sales will give you profit, which is the balancing figure. Okay, so this is your beautiful cost sheet. Just have a glance, everybody, on this beautiful cost sheet. This is the entire cost sheet. This is the entire format of cost sheet. Okay, first we have started with direct material. We added labor, we added expenses, we got prime cost. So from factory expenses we added, we got the product got completed in the factory. It went to administration department for verification. Administration people verified it, and they are given to selling department to sell it. Okay, the same thing happens in the factory also. The way the movement happens in the factory, the same way these people have given all these things. Okay, so first main thing what comes in the cost sheet is prime cost. After prime cost, we have the second main thing, which is works cost or factories cost or net works cost or net factory cost. Next, after this we have third main thing, that is cost of production. Next, after this we have fourth main thing, which is COGS, cost of goods sold. Next, at last we have cost of sales, and this is how your entire cost sheet is designed. I hope, is it clear, everybody, the entire cost sheet? Yes. Shall we proceed with the sums?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we'll proceed with the sums. First, we'll try to understand, analyze the example sums. Once the example sums are done, we get two sums are given in your material. We'll try to solve those two sums. I guess I have deleted that. Okay. So if you see, my dear friends, we have done so many things related to this cost sheet, right? Now, let's see these illustrations. See this illustration 1. Quite simple illustration. From the following information, he's asking you to find out the purchases. How will you find the purchases from following information? Just look at the question carefully. The question is quite simple. There's no special thing in this question. Raw material consumed is given, opening stock is given, closing stock is given. Okay. Opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock will give you consumption. right? What will give you consumption? Opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock will give you something called as consumption, right? Now opening stock is given. How much is the opening stock given? Opening stock is
3,000.
given as 3,000. Fine. Purchases, we don't know. Purchases, we need to calculate. Minus closing stock. How much is closing stock?
4,500.
4,500. Consumption is given as 26,500, right? Simple. Take 4,500 to left, 3,000 to left. So x is equals to 26,500 plus 4,500 minus 3,000. So how much you'll get? 26,500 plus 4,500, 30, 31, 31 minus 3, 28,000. No need to write, just listen, it's enough. Okay, so quite a simple thing, right? Just some formula we know, raw material consumed formula we know, and we have successfully applied the formula of raw material consumed. Right? Okay, let me erase this. Opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock is equals to consumption. Let's see how this person has solved this. He used the same formula. Yes, he has used the same formula, just he has made the left and right. That's it. He has made udhar idhar. That's it. No special thing he has done. Now see the illustration number 2. Prime cost is given as 33,500. Depreciation is given as 1,500. Factory rent is given as 200. He's asking you to calculate factory cost. How will you calculate? First, you'll take prime cost. First, take prime cost. For these prime cost, you will add depreciation. You will add factory rent. And at last, yeah, that's it. How much is prime cost? He gave you prime cost of 33,500. Next, how much is depreciation? He gave you a depreciation of 1,500. Next, how much is factory rent? Factory rent is 200% of depreciation is saying. What is 200% of 1,500? Can I say 200% of 1,500 is 3,000? Simple, my dear friends. Take your calculator,
Yes,
do 1,500 into 200%. Perfect.
3,000.
Yes, 3,000. Perfect. So what is the total? 33 plus 3 plus 1. 34, 35, 36, 37, 38,000. Okay. You got the same thing? Yeah. 38,000 is your answer. Just check the answer once. You already solved it in one more batch. You can just check your answer. Okay. So I hope it's quite clear. Clear, everybody? First two illustrations. Sense.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I hope the document is there here. Or I did it. Yeah, it's there. It's there. I did not delete it. Now see the third column, what he's saying. He's saying cost of sales is given as somewhere around he's saying cost of sales is equals to 37,416. Okay. Advertisement expenses is equals to 600. Discount on sales is 50% of advertisement expenses. He's asking you to calculate cost of goods sold. Now, if you remember, my dear friends, for cost of goods sold, I said you to add selling and distribution expenses. If you remember the cost sheet, for cost of goods sold, I said you to add selling and distribution expenses, right?
Yes, sir.
For COGS, I'll add selling and distribution expenses. Let it be advertisement or let it be discount. Okay, you get something called as cost of sales. How much is cost of sales given? 37,416. Advertisement expenses is 600. Discount on sales is 50% of advertisement expense. What is 50% of 600? 300. So this is missing. So if you do x plus 600 plus 300, x plus 600 plus 300, you are going to get something called as 37,416. So x is equals to 37,416 minus 600 minus 300, which is 36,516. The same thing is given here, 36,516. Okay, so quite a simple thing. This is your illustration number 3. Now let's do illustration number 4 and illustration number 5. Now see what he's saying, illustration number 4. He's saying factory cost is 3,95,000. Find admin office and administration expense, which is 7.315 as factory cost. He's saying administration expenses is 7.315 percentage of factory cost. What is 7.315 percentage of 3,95,000? 3,95,000 into 7.315%. Can I say it is 28,894.25, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. So administration cost is 28,894.25. Let's check our answer. Yes, 28,894.25. Now, let's do illustration number 5. Gross factory cost, net factory cost is given. For gross factory cost, you add opening stock of WIP, you reduce closing stock of WIP, you get something called as net factory cost. Gross factory cost is 58,000. Opening stock is 8,000. Closing stock is X. Net factory cost is 54,000. So 58 plus 8,000 minus X is equals to 54,000. Take X there, take 54,000 here. What is 58 plus 8? I guess 66,000. Minus 54,000 is equals to X. So X is equals to
12,000.
12,000. Perfect. X is equals to 12,000. Okay. So what is this 12,000? Closing stock of work in progress. Okay. Let's check whether it is correct or not. 12,000. Yes, it is 12,000. We got X is equals to 12,000. So answer is also closing stock of WIP is 12,000. Okay. Some different procedure is given. If you want to follow that procedure, you follow. Okay. Or you can follow this procedure. It's an MCQ paper, right? It's not going to much affect you. Not illustration number 6. Yeah. Let us discuss one more thing now before going to further illustrations. There are few items which we don't consider in cost sheet. What are those items what we don't consider in cost sheet? There are some few specific financial items, my dear friends, which we don't consider in cost sheet, which we altogether ignore in cost sheet. Okay, what are those and why we need to ignore them? Question goes somewhat like this. What are the items what are not considered in costing? Sir, why you are saying that they are not considered in costing? Nowhere in your CMA intern, nowhere in your CMA final costing, you are going to use these items. If these items come in the question, let it be CMA intern, let it be CMA final, simply you will cut these items. You are not going to use this. Now, question comes why you are not going to use these items. It is very simple, my dear friends. What is the main objective of costing? The main objective of costing is cost control and cost reduction. The main objective of costing is to reduce the cost. Now there are there are some items which are specially there only for you. Say for example, you have borrowed loan. Now when you have borrowed loan, you will pay interest on this loan, right? Now what happens if this interest is included in cost sheet? If this interest is included in cost sheet, the price of your goods will increase. Listen once again. If this interest is included in cost sheet, the price of the goods will increase. There is your competitor who is doing business which is own money. When the competitor is doing business with his own money, there is nothing called as interest for him. So for him, interest is not there, so he'll charge less price. For you, interest is there, you will charge more price. Now tell me, from where the customer will buy the product? The customer will go to him and buy the product, and you will end up in losses, my dear friends. That's the reason there are some items which are related to the entity itself, which are related to the organization itself, okay, which are not common. Fine, penalty, you charge it to the customer. If you charge fine and penalty to the customer, never ever the customer will come to you again. He will go to one more producer, right? So there are some specific items which are not considered in costing. Why these items are not considered in costing? In order to avoid cost differentiation. Like you have generally accepted accounting principles cap right in your accounting. In the same way, we have cost accounting standards. These cost accounting standards say that these things should not be considered because it will not help in comparison. Okay, it will not make comparison easy. So, what are the items what are not considered in costing? These items are not considered in costing to avoid cost differentiation. There are some items which are not considered in costing, comma, in order to avoid cost differentiation among entities. Okay, now let's understand what are all those things. In that first item is income tax. Income tax you don't consider in costing. Nowhere in costing you will see the word called as income tax. Next, dividend. Dividend word also you won't see. Next, interest. Next, capital losses. That is, you are having a machinery, you sold this machinery for loss. Next, donations. Discount on shares and debentures. These are all exclusive, pure financial items. Discount on shares, etc. These are pure financial items, my dear friends. Next, underwriting commission. Reserve for bad and doubtful debts. Reserve for bad debts. share premium, drawings by partners, drawings and all personal expenses of part owners, all personal expenses of owners. Next, share premium, transfer to reserves, fines and penalties, etc. Okay, these are something which are pure financial items. That's a, or pure personal items. That's the reason these things will not be considered in costing. Okay. So these are all the things of discussion, my dear friends, today. So in this today's class, what we have discussed what are the elements of cost. After discussing elements of cost, we have started with cost sheet. We have discussed what is cost sheet. Then we have seen the format of cost sheet. Then we have seen 1-2 sums related to cost sheet. Then we have seen what are the items which are not considered in costing. So tomorrow I'll complete the cost sheet. I'll start with classification of cost. And tomorrow considerable amount of classification of cost will be completed. Okay. So that's it for the day, my dear friends. Okay. It's very nice to see you all. I hope you people are in your house staying safe. Okay. That's it. Rest out things we'll do in tomorrow's session. So see you tomorrow, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, sir.